What's going on, guys? It's June 15th, and I know I've been kind of MIA the past few days, but I'm actually in Texas right now. You know, it's very flat, it's very hot, it's pretty ugly, but there's a lot of beautiful people here. You know, I come from Washington, so I'm pretty stuck up about that place in terms of views, but Texas is neat, man. I like the warmth, actually. It's not as hot as I thought it'd be. But anyway, what I wanted to do in this video is actually answer some questions that I've received from some of you guys. I'm going to start doing that, some videos, more of just like kind of Q&A style. And in this one, I got a question that I was going to answer, and that comes from Mizagui, we'll say, Mizagui. He typed to me and he wrote, "Dear Jordan, have you ever gone through an existential angst? If yes, how did you cope with it?" And then he goes on to ask me, "I've been constantly asking myself every day I am woke about existence. I feel like this is some type of simulation in an advanced civilization. Also, having some kind of fear of afterlife and the weirdness of life and uncertainty of it all and all the possibilities that anybody can think of." Now, so what I gather from this, he's basically asking me if I've ever gone through some like existential crisis in my heart, you know, feeling like, what the heck am I here? What am I doing? And absolutely, I've absolutely gone through that. And I think all of us have, especially in the process of truth seeking, because once you begin to come face to face with that illusion that we've been fed, and then you start to peer through it, you can absolutely start getting a lot of inner tension, inner turmoil, existential angst from all of that. And that's pretty much when I had my existential crisis, per se. I was about, 2021 when my first awakening process occurred, and I came face to face with that illusion. And it sounds like, from his question, obviously I don't know where his mindset might be at. I don't know how far along in his awakening process it might be, but having those questions to me sounds like he's pretty near the beginning, or, slowly going through the rabbit holes. One thing about my awakening process is I went through pretty much every single rabbit hole at once, and it was very traumatic, you could say, because me being so young, coming face to face with the illusion, per se, and then peering through the whole thing. Some people take rabbit hole by rabbit hole and they ease themselves into it. I just went balls deep, right? And that way, seeing the whole illusion all at once, also young, definitely put me through some existential angst. And the way I coped with it is that, honestly, I smoked a lot of weed. Don't recommend that at home, kids. So I'm all for the plant, but I'm not for that plant when it's used to run away from problems and mask pain. So that was one way I coped, which I don't recommend. But then there was also, I just continued learning. It was a process of wanting to share exactly this illusion I was seeing with everybody else. And one thing that helped in my process of coping with this angst that I was working through was the ability to help people with it, because conveniently at the same time I was learning about all the reality of what was going on in the world, I worked at a health food store as well, so I was able to take a lot of that drive to show people the illusion and to really make a difference about it, and put it into something useful. I was learning all day at work, so I was learning about what was going on, and I was sharing that with a lot of people in regards to health. But I would talk to people about all kinds of things when I was at that job. So luckily, I was able to take that inner angst and put it to use in helping people. And maybe you don't work at a job where you can do that. Maybe your creative passions will help you with that, help you outlet that angst in different ways. Maybe you're a painter, maybe you're creative. Really, the best way to cope with it, in my opinion, is, I could quote Joseph Campbell here and say, follow your bliss. My bliss was simply sharing everything I found out with other people. That's, and I'm still doing that. I'm still doing that with these YouTube channels, and in any way, any way I can, whether it's sharing information through video or writing articles or just posting rants on my Facebook or what have you. You know, my bliss was sharing everything. What's your bliss, right? The best way to cope and to release inner tension is through creativity, through an outlet, whatever that outlet might be. My creativity was just amassing information and seeing how best I could talk about it. That's it. You know, I'm not as artsy as some people, but maybe you want to get a lot of that inner angst out through painting or through dance or through movement or music or whatever it is, right? As, like I said, Joseph Campbell says, follow your bliss. I love that. Love that statement from him. And another thing you could think about, another piece of advice I have to offer is resistance, because there always seems to be this resistance to change. And I think that's what causes so much existential angst when people come face to face with this illusion, is that as much as someone might think that they're open to change, they're really not. They're really not. I'm not open to change with so many things. A lot of other people aren't. No matter how far along you are in your awakening process, we all still have that ego that controls us. We still have that ego that likes us to be in our comfort zones and doesn't like change. So a quote from Alan Watts here, I love Alan Watts. He said simply, I'm paraphrasing this one, but don't resist the change. If you want to move with the change, you have to plunge into it and join the dance. And that's exactly how it is that, you know, once you start questioning your own existence, what that's essentially doing is that you're resisting opening yourself up to a new existence. You're resisting breaking down the old foundations of thought that you have in your psyche, and it's becoming difficult for you to process new forms of thought, new ways of being and thinking. So try not to resist, man. That's that's the best way that's the best advice I can offer is don't resist. Move through new thought processes, move through all this information at your own speed. It doesn't have to be all at once. It was all at once for me, but it can be bit by bit for you. But look to unlearn the old thought processes and build new ones, and find a creative outlet that best serves you to help get a lot of that inner tension out. Also exercise. Exercise is a big one. We tend to hold a lot of tension in our physical bodies. So various bioenergetic practices would absolutely help you. Active meditation, static meditation, and creative outlets. So don't resist, find some creative outlets, and I feel that your existential angst, my brother man, will be a whole lot easier to manage. But also keep in mind, we all do it, we all go through it, and don't think that it's unique to you and that you're the only one suffering, because we're all suffering through that existential angst. Humanity itself on a full collective level is going through some existential angst right now. We're all going through our dark night of the soul. So don't stress, brother man. Ride the wave of change and find some positive ways to get out that inner tension, and I feel like you'll be feeling a whole lot better. Peace.